That looks good. Perfect.
Welcome to the best show on YouTube.
Perfect. All I want now is just fill my glasses up now.
Yeah, it's filled up. Right.
Lights, camera, action.
UPbuild,
Camera rolling.
UPbuild Q&A. Fire away.
So the first question from Tutankhamun. Your fabrication skills are so good that when I first began watching your vids I was convinced that you're a professional fabricator. But in a vid some time ago you said that you aren't. I wondered what you do for a living.
Well, we're not professional fabricators.
We're a long way off panel beating.
No. So to answer that then, we're not professional fabricators. That's not our job. And it never has been your job.
No, it never has been my job. I've been a site worker, roundabout sites on like open casts, motorways, power stations and things like that. On machinery, big heavy plant, scrapers, dozers and dump trucks and graders and things like that. Yeah. Probably
you're famous for the navies. I think.
Driving navies. That was one of my first jobs, driving a navvy. Yeah.
So that's all
very on drag line.
Old machinery, very old machinery.
The old machines, you don't see them now. They're all hydraulic machines now.
Yeah. And also, I'm not a fabricator. Never have been a fabricator. And so my job at the moment is, I'm a van driver, but there's a bit more involved than that. I look after a region of shops, and so I'm not going to, but I kind of look after a load of shops and have a van, which you've seen me van, which has been damaged. Someone mentioned the damage on it. That's been repaired.
Somebody had to run into them.
Yeah, someone drove at the side of us on a roundabout. Someone cut the corner of the roundabout as they normally do. Anyway, yes, so that's me, a van driver. But in past, I left school and was a gardener. So I suppose the other thing I did when I left school was I actually went to horticultural college. Then I worked as a supervisor in a garden centre. Worked my way up the ladder, and then I was in the warehouse, and then I had my own bathroom fitting business. So I was plumbing, tiling, false ceilings, cladding, everything in a bathroom fit. It was my own business. We did that for 3 or 4 years, and then I think that was when I took on the job that I'm in now, which I'm a van driver. So never been a fabricator, never been involved.
There's neither of being a fabricator, I think, nothing like that.
So I think
we've all been like, I've been on site work all along.
Like you said, self-taught. That's what we are.
Self-taught. We're self-taught, doing everything.
So what we do, the things we do, is just things we've picked up over the years.
Yeah.
And you had the garage.
I did have a garage. I did have a garage for a few years.
A service station.
Service station and things like that.
What did you do there?
We'd done a bit of maintenance. I had a chap worked with us as well. He was a fitter. Worked on fitting anything that went wrong with cars. He did the fitting. I used to do brakes on cars and fitting exhaust. I done a little bit of paint work, not a lot, but a bit of paint work as well. But before I went into that sort of thing, I was a site manager.
Yeah. I suppose the garage was, you said that you spent times where there was like a car come in and the whole side of the car would be completely smashed out of it. So you put a whole new side into a car. So there
was quite a bit of work in the garage thing that I done. Like
it wasn't just brakes and exhaust. No, there was a lot of
I've done a bit of
big jobs.
A few panels, fitting new panels and things like that into the cars, but I went back to being site manager again, looking after sites.
So Tutankhamun has a second question. When using rattle cans, do you use the nozzles that came with the cans or do you use aftermarket ones?
We use the ones that comes with the cans. We use the nozzles that come with the cans, but that's a really, really good point. I haven't actually looked to see if you can get aftermarket nozzles to go on the cans.
I think so, yeah, you get different nozzles that fits. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think you can.
Oh, wow. You can.
You can.
You can. Yeah. So also we use you've seen we use the little spray gun handle, little spray gun.
Yeah, handle. It fits on top of the can. You just push it on the can, and you've got more control then. Rather than just keep pressing, then you've got more control. You've got a trigger. You've got a trigger there. You can press and.
It's more natural. I suppose you're spraying like a sort of professional sprayer would spray with a spray gun. It's really good. Honestly, anybody who hasn't got one of those, I don't know why we haven't had one before now. But anybody,
had one years ago.
I know. I think we've got one, but we should have bought a few. We'll get a few of them anyway. They're great. But if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, that's it there.
That's it. I don't know if we've got a can.
There's not a can, but you just pop the can on the end. The can just sits there.
That's it. You've got more control on it like that, haven't you?
Oh, that's brilliant.
A lot of control.
Link in the in the video description if you want to buy one. it is in there. Tools and what have you, all in the description. I'll pop them in.
Yeah, any tool we use
Pop them in the
will be
description.
all linked there for you to say,
Yeah.
and where you get them from.
Good point. That really good point. That about the. We'll definitely be looking at that. Get some because some cans do come with a really good little fan. The nozzle on the can gives you a really good little fan.
Yeah, the fan out where some are just straight.
Yeah.
Where you don't get a really good cover.
Coverage.
The cover doesn't go on very well. You need where it fans out and you get a nice even cover.
Yeah. Next question.
Jeff H says, me and my lad would love to do a classic mini restoration, but we don't have any welding skills or experience. What advice would you give on getting started?
Start. Oh, honestly, like I love comments like this. They're probably my favourite because the thing is, I don't know about you, but the thing is, I love the whole. One of the big reasons why we're kind of like doing this and doing it on YouTube and documenting it is because it kind of inspires other people just like yourself. To have a go. Because the thing is, you only learn by having a go. So don't look
have a go at anything, really.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't have to be expensive.
No, it doesn't have to be expensive. No, you can buy the bit cheaper materials and.
The thing is, it's just a case of just having a go and not compare. I suppose just don't compare yourself to anybody else. That's the biggest thing, really. Because I could easily go and look at other people and think, oh, I wish I could weld like that, or I wish I could fabricate like that, or I wish I could do electrics. I just don't know electrics. Don't know electrics at all.
Have a go.
But I want to learn, so I'm just gonna have a go. But absolutely, I would have a go and just obviously research whatever it is you want to do. Just make sure you watch if there's like a car you're going to buy or a panel you want to repair, or just watch as many YouTube videos. It's what I do, and it's what pretty much everybody does. The best fabricators or whatever, you hear them on YouTube and say they've watched loads of videos on whatever it is that they're done. Yeah. So I mean that product, that work we've just done on the MX-5, that's the first MX-5 we've ever had, and it's the first time I've ever replaced a wing on an MX-5. I've done any of that work on an MX-5.
That is, yeah.
But we've just watched videos. Yeah. Just watch videos.
What videos? How they do it and what. Really get tucked into it, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Absolutely have a go, and like I say, it's what we really love to be able to do is try and motivate people like yourself, and just like sort of inspire people to either get a project, have a go at a project, have a go like you're saying with your son, which I think is a fantastic thing to do because we have a great time spending time together, and it doesn't matter if we get a load of work done. It's time spent together. It's just
nice to see the job done and say, well, I've done that.
Yeah.
I've had a go at it. And it just turned out great. Turned out great. Might not the first time, but
exactly.
Practice at it, and you will get there. You will get there.
I suppose the welding thing, not having any welding skills, is that some people will tell you that you just only the professionals can weld, and it's rubbish. Anybody can weld. Anybody can learn to weld. It's a bit tricky when you start, but I think the biggest thing I don't want to go into this. Obviously, I think I probably could do a separate video on welding. I'm not a professional welder. And the welding I do is just self-taught. I suppose the best thing to do is to gain a bit of welding experience is just basically go to your local car auto services and buy a sheet of metal. You'll be able to buy a sheet of flat steel, like you see us make the panels with. I think they cost about 15 quid for one of them, or less, because I think I buy 4 foot by 2 foot, so maybe buy a 4 foot by 4 foot sheet, and just cut square pieces off and just practice welding them together. I mean, like I say, you'll buy a sheet of that steel, maybe a 10 a 2 foot by 2 foot sheet. And I mean, how many times you can practice with that? Just keep practicing. And I think the only thing I would say about welding is if you're going to buy a welder, buy it and run it on gas, because the thing is, the gasless is never as smooth. It's always a bit more difficult to try and get a good weld without gas. So we pay, I think those hobby bottles, the bottle that you see on the back of our welder, I'll put a shot in of our welder and the gas bottle, but the welder gas bottle that we've got there, I think they're about 55, 60 quid.
Something like that. 40 something like that.
I know 40, yeah. They're about £45 for one of them bottles. But that bottle, if you're just doing bits and pieces, will last you for a couple of years. It'll last you a couple of years, that.
Yeah, it'll last you well.
If you're doing a lot of welding, we probably change it once, maybe every 3 or 4 months, but I mean, you've seen we do a lot of welding.
We do a lot of welding, like
and the welder, if you can, just spend as much as you can on a welder. Just spend as much as you can. Try not to buy the cheapest
best welder you can buy, really, because it does go a long way. There's cheaper welders.
You get our welder for about £400, and then your gas bottle about 50 quid for your gas bottle, so 450. So set. I mean, I suppose let's say you don't have to spend as much as that, but it's worth spending as much as you can, because you need a welding helmet. Buy an auto helmet. For what it is, when I say an auto helmet, you can see through it. It looks clear. As soon as you start welding, it goes black. the screen goes
so
black.
it's like an arc with
it goes black,
it goes black,
so you're protecting your eyes. About 30 quid for one of them. So, but I love that comment. I really appreciate that comment, and like I say, it's nice hearing that it's motivated you to think about doing what we do, because that's what we're here for. Really, yeah.
It's our hobby.
That's fantastic.
We'll be in it.
Who was that comment from?
Jeff H.
Jeff H. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it, Jeff H. Go for it, mate.
Have a go. Have a go.
You and your son, get on with it, man.
Have a go.
Get yourself a mini, like you said.
Graham Cole asking a similar question to before about how you both acquired your skills, and did you say that you'd converted minis before?
Well, we've already said about how we got the skills, but
yeah,
I've never done a mini before. This is the first mini I've ever worked on, but you've worked.
I've worked on a few minis. Like I have done a few minis up. Maybe sometime we'll put a few of the things, the projects that I have done. We'll put a few in some of the films that we do and let you see what we have done in the past.
But you did a mini. Fairly recent, you did a little mini. You had a little trailer on.
I done a mini up and I put it in a 2H and I had a wee little trailer and it was brilliant. It was a brilliant little mini.
You restored the trailer and everything?
This trailer and everything, we restored a lot, like, yeah. We made a good job of it. It looked really nice.
Yeah.
I put it in, I haven't got it now, but I wish I still had it.
Got a better one now.
Yeah, I've got another one here.
in the making.
Yeah, it's brilliant for the make a mini, like a Mark 1 mini out of a Mark 4 is not easy, because every panel in that mini has changed in it. And this is where you learn your skills from doing things like this. I think that's the way to do it, like, really, isn't it?
Definitely.
Andy Nicklin has a question about your welding process. You always plug weld your repair panels. Any reason you haven't invested in a spot welder?
I think one of the main reasons they haven't got a spot welder is because it's the power you need for it. You need I think it's a bit higher voltage.
Yeah,
well, it's the voltage. We haven't got the voltage in the garage we've got here at the minute, but eventually we will get up to that. We will get up to one.
It's just a surprise, and I think our supply isn't strong enough to the garage, because you need to have a really good supply for a spot weld, because it draws so much. So we just basically just hang up the electrics to support it. We're going to buy one quite a few times. We've been going to buy
a few times. We're going to buy one. A few times, yeah. We just
haven't got the electrics to support it there at the minute. But we'll
so
definitely have one.
We've had to make do what we've got.
Exactly, that's the thing. The thing is, like you just
we
said,
still manage.
We've managed to get the job done with plug weld. I know it's not as tidy and it takes more time, and I suppose the thing is that the fact that it's a little bit more complicated than me getting the electric set up in the garage where we're in, because it's a rented space. So there's a little bit of, it's a bit more complicated than me having to do that.
Yeah, no, even it's a hobby, like, you know, it's not as if you're using it every week.
Well, it's not cheap. It's just not cheap doing that. So, and it just, I suppose it's that thing where, you know, it's, I suppose we will get it done, but then, you know, we'll get to a point of where we need to actually plug weld the cart and move on to get the job done, and you find yourself at that point where you think, oh, well, we need to get the electrics done, so we're at a stopping point, so we'll just crack on and get on by plug welding it. I suppose that's a bit of an excuse, but that's the reason why. We'll definitely get the electrics in to support it, and we'll have a plug spot welder, because that would be really handy for future projects.
But, yeah, I mean, it's not a business way, it's just a hobby. Yeah.
Next question.
Stephen Woodward says, I watched CT in the US working on his VW Beetle, and I quite like his attitude. Maybe he's similar to yourselves. He wants to see something go back to its former glory. Who do you admire as mechanics or engineers on YouTube, and why?
Oh, wow. Honestly, there's a amount of channels. I watch tons of channels. I think the ones that inspire, I suppose I love George from Super Classic. I love watching that. Super Classic Motoring. And I love watching Retro Power. They're very good.
They're very professional. They're very professional. Yeah,
they're really good because they explain their process, and they're preparing some.
Wow, they're building up to everything. They've got all the machinery for working, and they've got all the gear. Like
their standards so high. Who else do I like? I like watching. I quite like watching some of the American channels. I like Speed Academy. They're quite good. Peter and Dave and Speed Academy. I like watching them, and I like watching CT. I've never watched CT before. I'll have to look that one up.
Got Mighty Carmine.
Mighty Carmine's. I love watching Mighty Carmine's brilliant. Marty, he does such a lovely job. The stuff's always really good. I watched Mighty Carmine's right from the very beginning, since way before they started doing their Super Grams. But they've learned so much in their process. And who else? Project Binky, obviously who can't like the Project Binky lads, the Yorkshire lads.
Yeah, they were good. They built a really good mini like they did.
But they're not finished yet.
I think they put a lot of work. They put a lot of work into it.
They're on another level. We're like here somewhere, and some of the
they're
here
there.
somewhere. But they're like, yeah.
But they are good. They are brilliant. They are brilliant. Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many. But I mean, the channels I watch on YouTube are dead inspiring. All the ones I watch are really inspiring. I like a lot of the fabrication side of things, and like you say that.
We learned a lot through watching the fabrication.
Yeah.
Learned a lot through it.
So Urchfab, love watching Urchfab. He's really good. Started watching the whole of when he started with the 100E, the MX5 base, and Trev's blog. Love a bit of Trev's blog. He hasn't done many videos recently. Be nice to see more Trev's blog. Talented guy, really clever guy, and Home Built by Jeff. I think I might have mentioned that. Home Built by Jeff. I like that. Yeah. There we go.
Quite a few there.
There's probably more that I've forgotten, but it's you get a lot of inspiration and
you get a lot of these things. You see it, you don't know who it is doing really at times. I must admit, I subscribe to a load, but anyway, yeah, that's great. Few there will like to follow. Hopefully that answers your question. Anyway, next question.
Cliff Ludo asks the most important question of all: how often do you restock the fridge?
Oh, very often.
Well, it takes a bit of keeping up to that one.
We'll get a delivery every once in a while.
We get the dray wagon in once in a while.
We keep that well stocked up. We always keep it stocked up.
Kenny Flynn asks, will you build on a second storage shed for mini storage and get rid of the lockup?
I think we'll probably just keep the lockup, but as long as we can. But the thing is, building the garage, we definitely want to do that. Build
I want to build on the end still. I want to build some sort of a place where we can keep really all the, I would say, machinery in.
Yeah.
Keeping something we can keep maybe a folder or a sheet folder.
Metal folder.
And maybe a lathe at some time.
I'd love to get
a lathe at some time. And
definitely.
There's a lot of things we'd like to do. Yeah. And we ain't got the room in here to do it in this part. But
because like you say, obviously our motto in here is with the floor space is just nothing goes on the floor. Nothing goes on the floor. Got to keep the floor space clear. So obviously we want to get an area next door where we can kind of use it, like you say, use it as a bit of a storage. But mostly so it can fit some of the bigger tools in, like my dad's saying, fit like to the lathe in,
like that,
metal folder and
metal folder and.
We'd like to get an tanker. Not sandblasting, but sandblasting tanker. Can't think of the name of it, man.
Well, they get some more tools even for fabricating the panels we use.
I'd love
getting the shapes different because you need a roller,
English wheel,
an English wheel for doing it, and these are the sort of things we ain't got.
Yeah.
But we do intend investing sometime in it.
Yeah.
We will invest one
I think
day.
we'll just actually think, cause this has been on the plans for a while to build another area next door. So we're definitely going to do that. We'd already planned to do that quite a while ago. But what I will probably end up doing is once we get to a point where we kind of feel as though we've had enough of the cars, just it's nice to have a bit of a break, probably will do that. And probably, I don't know if we'll manage to do it this summer, but I don't know if you saw the garage video, but I built that in the middle of the winter. So the garage, I put a link in the corner somewhere, so if you haven't seen that, you've got to watch the garage build video, because you'll see I built it in the middle of the winter where I was pretty much digging the snow out to build it. But so we'll definitely probably try and do that at some point in the future. Good point, we're going to do that.
Ben Stoko asks, where are you guys based?
Here. Not telling you where it is. No.
We're in the northeast.
In the northeast, yeah.
We're in the northeast.
County Durham.
Yeah.
So we're kind of 20 minutes from everywhere pretty much. Newcastle, Hexham, Durham. Yeah, so
we're in the area already.
That's where we are.
That's it, yeah.
AJ asks, what is the dream build?
Wow.
Oh, now then, there's the thing.
Well, E-Type's on the cards. But I don't know whenever that'll be here. Maybe I'd absolutely love to build a 1969, I think 67. I think 67, it's the earlier. 67 Camaro. Because I suppose getting hold of something like that over here. And obviously I'd want to convert it to right-hand drive for our roads over here. But that'd be my dream build. Definitely my dream build.
We will one day.
A 1960s. So I suppose, okay, my dream build, which is would be a 1967 Camaro with some modern running gear. I wouldn't do the whole cut the shell off and put it on top of something else, but I'd just use like the original. I just like that kind of keeping things. I think there's so much stuff over there. I know in America, people watching probably this from America, but there's so much stuff you guys can get for your cars over there. Like
we can't get here.
Well, just completely new, fancy suspension setup that just bolts into your. I know obviously there's other fabrication bolts into the frame of your car, like a Camaro, like I'm saying. Camaro. I like the idea of a Camaro. I'm not biased. I like the Mustangs. I'd love an early Mustang, like a fastback Mustang.
Mine Jags and
Jags.
I love Jags, mate. I think the Jag really it's a
which one?
Well, it's a car on its own.
Which one? Which Jag though?
Oh, I would like an XK8, XKR.
Dream build XKR.
An XKR, any Jags really, to be quite honest, but the XKR is one of the Jags I'd like to get to. Get a Camaro one day.
Camaro. Potato. I know what I mean.
Got to build me an Isetta first.
Yeah. So my wife wants an Isetta, so I've got to build the Isetta first. Yeah.
Rico Basile says, "Can we get a mini update?"
The mini update. Well, we haven't forgot about it.
Next question. We'll come back to it.
Bill Griffiths asks, was the Mark 1 mini conversion the first project you did, and if not, what was?
Oh, it's not the first project.
No, I've had a few different projects. I mean,
well, you've had loads of projects.
I've had loads, me. Like I've had loads. We've had the MG midgets. We've had Porsche 911s. We've had all the English cars, like the Vauxhalls and.
You had your SD1s.
Yeah,
the old Rovers.
The old Rovers.
The V8s.
Yeah.
Done stuff with them.
Well, I had a wide range of different vehicles when I was in
I suppose none of them have been projects to this level of this. So I suppose that the Mini, though, will be the first project probably that we've taken to this standard, this level, or this far. But it's the first one we've documented. We've done a lot of, like you've obviously as you've just said, you've spent a lot of time with.
I've spent a lot of time on different vehicles. Definitely.
But like we say, this is the only project that we've taken to this kind of level, and the only project we've documented. Although actually I suppose you've already seen bits of my 205. I have documented quite a bit of my 205. I started a project thread on 205 drivers, so I've stripped that down. I still haven't gotten back to that yet. So I've got my 205, which is an unfinished project. So for myself, my projects, I've had a few smaller scale projects in the past, but nothing to this level.
So come on then, give the people what they want. They want a mini update.
We're not doing it anymore. We're leaving it. We're shelving it. No. We're going to get back to it. Don't worry. We're going to get back to it. We're definitely going to get back to it. It's just, I think the thing is, we're at that stage where we've got all of the metalwork done. So the metalwork site's complete. The thing now is to go through the whole shell and just check we're happy with everything. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to sandblast the whole shell, take it back, because obviously we've been building the shell for the past 3 or 4 years. So we need to then now make sure that the whole of the shell is rust free, because obviously over the
solid, like, isn't it?
over the past 3 years, a lot of rust will have accumulated in like little nooks and crevices. So what we're going to do is work our way around systematically, tip the shell on its side, start with the underside of the shell, the floor, and we're going to sandblast the whole underside of the floor, and immediately after sandblasted it, we'll then epoxy prime the whole shell, go around the whole shell systematically, epoxy prime, so the floor first, then we'll do the inside of the car, then we'll do the rest of the top part of the car. That's the plan. And epoxy prime it, literally, like I say, sandblast it, so floor first, then pull it straight back in, paint it with epoxy primer, and work around the whole shell. That's when we get it all in epoxy primer. And the reason why we haven't done that yet is because we got to the point where we finished all the metal work, and that was kind of at the end of the summer, so we're going into the winter, where, well, the winter time obviously is the worst time possible to start sandblasting the car to bare metal, getting the bare metal surface, and then painting it. I know obviously it kind of contradicts what we're doing with the MX-5, but the difference there is the fact the MX-5 is not done to the level this is. This is going to be done to a much higher standard, so I want it perfect, I want it right. So the plan is, that's where we're at. So basically the plan is just to get back on it once the weather warms up again, and then that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be sandblasting the whole shell and working our way around the whole shell, getting it all into epoxy primer. And then I suppose we're at the stage then where we can start looking at sort of building it back up again, get like the subframes built up, get the what else is, I suppose, just like sort of putting all of like the running gear back onto it, and then all the trim back on, building it back up basically. I suppose obviously we've got, I'm saying, missing out the big part, which is the whole bodywork side of it. So we're going to have to work through the whole thing.
Sealed everything like that.
Exactly. So there'll be a process of, obviously, like I said, epoxy primers, and then very similar to the MX-5 really, will be seam sealing the whole thing, the seam sealer, and then obviously the underside being under sealed, and then just sort of body working the whole of the shell, because obviously the whole shell's been fabricated, so it's all what you see at the minute, or what you have seen at the minute, is just all raw steel with primer on it. So obviously the whole side's going to need, the whole every panel on the car is going to need.
With the full restoration, like, isn't it?
So the whole car. The
full restoration. The whole car's going to need, wasn't like.
Yeah, so the whole car's going to need like a skimmer filler in places, and to make it right, to make it perfect. Because obviously we're fabricating a lot of panels to make it into a Mark 1. The front end's to go on. The front end, such like in comparison to what we've done, putting the front end on is nothing. That's an easy job. But we've just left it off so it leaves us space to work around what's there. Really, putting the panels on is the simple thing. You know, that's in comparison to what's been done. Putting the front end of the Mini on is simple. Obviously, there's a little bit of work in getting it lined up, but that's such a simple thing compared to what's been done.
I think the stage we've got it up to now, like, is really all the body work is sort of finished, isn't it?
Metal work's done, yeah. So
Metalwork's finished.
That's kind of where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yeah,
Gone
it's
through
just a
everything
matter of going around it and making sure that everything is really done well.
Yeah.
And it's everything's fastened up right, and then we'll get back in the mechanic side of it then.
Like, I suppose the next time we'll have any updates or any work on the Mini will probably be just more or less moving into the summer. That's like sort of end of the spring. I'm not going to put a time on it because it's really hard, because we might get time, things might change, it depends on the weather, but the next step on the Mini is going to be waiting until the weather gets to the point.
The weather's got to be kind of right for the work on it.
Just so we're not dealing with the dampness, because obviously we've got a really good workspace and it is dry in here, but
you still get that little bit of dampness.
Yeah, it's cold obviously, because you imagine we'll come to like painting, you need to hold the warmth, and it does hold the warmth really well, but yeah. Anyway, that kind of updates you on the Mini. I think that's probably. Next question.
This summer, we'll get back to it this summer.
Next question.
So, moving on to the MX-5, Bad Books asks, roughly how much time did the MX-5 welding take?
I cannot really give you an answer on that, because the thing is, a few people have asked that question, how long does it take? But we're filming it. So
we've had the car, how long now we've had the car, like? Since we started working on it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't all welding all the time on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I suppose that the answer to this question is the fact that someone's asking how long did it take us to do it, and we can't give you an answer really, because the thing is, it's to try and take out all those little bits of filming and all those little bits of preparation to actually be able to film the right shot. You just couldn't do it. You're not basically just pulling the car in the garage and cracking on with it.
It takes time
you're
to set
filming,
up, like.
putting the car in the garage, and then you're filming stripping the car down, and you might move the camera around half a dozen times just in that one process of just pulling the car in and starting to strip the car down. And then once you start working on the car, you're moving the camera around, getting the shots you want, and then you might take a shot and think, oh, that wasn't quite good enough, so you might think, I'm going to undo what I've just done and redo it again to get the right shot. And so that might sound a bit extreme, but that's how you make these films on YouTube. That's how
it all takes time like that.
So given a time on it, I did have this idea where I thought I was going to be able to put a counter on the screen showing the hours clicking by.
Yeah, I suppose we can put a rough.
But it's just hard. You
can't. But it's not easy. It's not easy. Like
filming it at the same time is just so hard. Yeah. So I don't know. It's really hard to say. Like I said, like my dad was saying, we've probably had the car. To give you an idea, we've had the car. Well, I don't know. I'll check. I'll check and I'll put on the screen how long we've had the car because I can't remember. But I think we've had about 2.5, 3 months. I think that's how long we've had the car.
Yeah, about
and we're just
2.5. I would say 2.5 to 3 months.
I'll write on the screen.
Yeah.
So
I would say probably a quarter of that time is working on the car, and the rest of the time's filming.
It is. Yeah, that's right.
That's where the time has gone into.
Phil Tucker says, are you intending to repeat the Gold Leaf Team Lotus colours, or are you planning a complete colour change?
Keep the colours, yeah.
I would keep the colours. That's the thing. I think it's a nice colour. I like the two tone.
Yeah.
And I like the gold.
Yeah, what's Lotus, isn't it?
Lotus, yeah. I like that about it. It makes an MX-5 like stand out.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It makes it stand out better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep those.
Yeah,
colours.
keep it the same. That's a question, isn't it?
Well, speaking of painting it, Mazdas and Me says, will you be respraying the car yourself when all of the metalwork is finished, or will you put it in somewhere?
Yeah, we're doing it ourselves. Yeah, we'll definitely be doing it ourselves.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
That'll be good. Yeah, no, looking forward to doing it. So it's obviously going to take a little bit of time because with it being two-tone, so we'll have the white on the bottom and the Old English white on the saying Old English white, the white on the bottom and then the red top, and we'll paint.
We'll do it all the paint work ourselves.
Paint ourselves.
Yeah.
We'll document all that. We'll film that, and obviously that'll be going out, which we'll do.
That'll come in later.
So you've got a few people all asking a similar question. Fred Jones, Gerald Mealy, Mektech and Mahabat Malak are all asking whether they missed you welding in the tubs.
Yeah. No, you didn't miss it. I just didn't put it in. It just trying to get in underneath and weld it in with the camera was just. I think someone might have said that actually. So one of the comments might have been.
It's just get that narrow space.
I tried doing it with the camera and it just wasn't working. It was just too difficult. Working that tiny little space underneath the car was just. But
it is well welded under there. Like it's all sealed and welded properly. Like
what I've done is I've just basically, as you've seen, I welded that section onto the arch before I fitted the arch to the car, and then I basically put that arch on the car with the piece already welded on inside, as you've seen, which left the gap inside to still be welded up. So then all I did basically is made, I made 3 sections. So I just made the section, obviously made a template out of cardboard, roughly, and then came out and I just used the shrinker stretcher and a flat piece of steel and just shrunk one side of it, just to get the curve on it on one side, and just keep bringing it back in, matching it up, bringing it out, matching it up, and then I just used the big blacksmith hammer I've got in the vise and just smoothed the curve out and just made panels, and just fitted them in. They just basically tacked on.
You just fabricated the ball, didn't you? Really, fabricate the ball right around.
They just tacked on the edge of that panel that I fitted on the back of the arch. Just tacked them all around that edge. So I made 3. It was 3 sections. I made 3 sections and just tacked them, welded them together while they were inside the arch. If I'll try and see if I have got a shot in just of showing it once it was welded up. If I have, you'll see what it left. Obviously, by doing that, I mean, it's never going to be as good as the factory finish. That doing something like that, that's where an English wheel would come in to try and make that whole section. But I haven't got an English wheel, so I had to work with what I had. So you'll see that I've filled the area where I welded it with seam sealer, so it's obviously well sealed. And obviously the backs of those panels that I made, I painted them as well, and then seam sealed any of the gaps. Seam sealed around all of the gaps in the arch. Yeah, so you didn't miss it. I just couldn't get the camera in to film it. That was all. It just the bit of footage. I tried to do a bit of footage and it just didn't come out. So yeah, there was quite a few. I noticed there was a few comments came through about that. Yeah. Anyway, next question.
Still well sealed.
Next question.
In the last video, the inside of the boot, about 15 minutes into the video, looked as badly rusted as the holes that you were fixing. Great video, but it did leave me wondering about the underside of the car. Have you thought about getting the seats out and carpets so that you can have a thorough check and complete the boot and around the engine if necessary? Because it would be a shame to have to go back to welding if you were close to getting it through an MOT. Also, rusted brake discs can be a fail. The carbide grinding discs aren't bad for this. The new one would have a good flat surface on it and you'd be able to complete the job with ease. And then he asks about...
Yeah. So the brake discs are all fine. We'll probably end up putting new brake discs on, but we did clean them up. Maybe I haven't showed that on camera, but sometimes things look worse on camera than they do in real life. But the brake discs are fine. They're not going to fail an MOT, those brake discs.
No, they're well cleaned up, like.
Yeah, but the car itself, the bad bits on the car were the only bad bits, to be honest. That I'll try and put a bit of a shot in here of the rest of the car, so you'll see like around the door, apertures are all nice and solid. You'll see, and also in the boot, under the bonnet is solid everywhere. Under the bonnet, the scuttle's all nice and solid. Down the wings, the inner wings are all nice and solid. So the area inside the boot that looked rusty, just hadn't gotten to that. Yeah, that was being repaired. So I have done that now. I've repaired that. That panel's all been repaired, and then underside of the rear bumper, I've taken the bumper off the back of the car, and done the same thing as what I did underneath the car where it needed it. Just wire wheeled the whole area back, and then rust treated it, and then I've primed the whole area, and then undersealed it. So that's all nice and solid now on the car. And the rest of the car, the centre section of the car, either side of the sills, is all solid. Everything's absolutely solid inside. I know what you mean. You could see something, you think, oh, that's terribly rotten there. What's the rest of the car like? The thing is, it's just that's because of a prone problem with MX-5s. The fact that the rear drain areas where they drop down inside the arch and they have little hoppers and the pipe runs out the bottom, they just fill up with leaves that block up, obviously, and then the bottom area just fills up with water inside of the sill, and that's why they rot. But that's a prone area to rot. The rest of the shell underneath isn't a prone area. It's like Mark II MX-5s. The MX-5s and Mark IIs, for some reason the front chassis legs rot off, but there's fine. Mark I MX-5s are fine. It's just a prone area. So the rest of the car's absolutely fine. It's just like I say, there's the boot floor. That's because of the battery. Battery areas on all cars are the areas that rot, and then those rear arches and sill areas. So yeah, the rest of the car's fine. It's solid. The rest of the car is absolutely solid. We've checked and make sure we're happy with it. It's all solid.
Yeah, we've been right through it really. We've got all the bad places all solved now.
Yeah, that's happy.
Yeah, we're happy. We're happy where it is now. We're
Looks
definitely
good.
happy. I think the car's definitely all solid now.
Barry Brewer asks, will you inject in the box sections after you finish?
Yeah, it's
Probably do with fitting wax oil.
wax oil.
Yeah, the wax oil. We slide a tube down inside and pump it all the way through and pull the tube back as it's
sprayed. Yeah, we'll spray it all out.
sprayed out.
Yeah.
We will do that. Yeah.
We'll wait till we've painted the car though, because
Yeah, it's sort of like the last thing to do.
yeah.
One of the last things, anyway.
Yeah, I think the thing with that is just it saves any reactions with paint. If you're putting wax oil and then painting the car, you might get some reactions. So we'll do that after we've painted the car.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Michael Moon asks, what did you chaps do with regards to the fuel tank lines and filler neck when welding close to it? I guess there was a risk with explosion or fire.
We're nowhere near it really.
I think we're well off the tank though.
Yeah.
We're well off the tank where we were welding. I know the nozzle where you fill the tank, it was well and but it was away from where we were welding really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
Wasn't
was,
that
got,
close.
it was a good distance away. I mean, the
Yeah.
closest area to filling that nozzle, to the welding that nozzle would have been when we were welding that arch on the which side is it on? The filling nozzle's on the passenger side. So the closest would have been is we were welding the back arch. But just obviously just I had my dad sat ready behind watching, making sure there was no sparks coming through, making sure we had no sparks coming into that area. Just
Watch it all the time when Mark was welding, like.
Yeah.
There was no chance of any problem with that at all. No problem. No problem at all. No.
fire extinguisher at the ready.
Yeah, well, I didn't have the fire extinguisher. We've got a nice big fire extinguisher.
Andy Ritchie asks, will you be sorting the engine out too with the hint of blue smoke, or give the engine a total strip down?
I don't think it needs a total strip down. We're gonna.
Well, we have done a compression test on it, and as far as we can see up and now, I think it's more or less like valve seals and things like that. Which that's the thing we'll come to after we get it. We really want to give it a run first, test it out to see exactly is that what it is, or has it just been ticking over too many times and oiled up. We want to get it out and give it a good blast when we get it MOT'd.
Yeah.
And then we'll go through that. I think we'll go through that next.
Yeah.
I mean, if we've got to take the head off and do the valve seals and all that, it's not a problem.
We won't take the head off though. We won't take the head off to change the valve stem
We
seals.
don't need to take the head off. We can do it. We can do it other ways. Can't we? Yeah.
You don't need to take the head off to change the valve stem seals. There's a tool you can buy or you can use which you can take the seals. You can take the valves that release the pressure from the valve springs
and that.
compress the valve springs and take the collets out and release the seals and then put new ones in without taking the head off.
Yeah.
And which we'll do that. We'll probably do that. Go down that method. I would imagine. I would imagine that loads of comments have been and said that what people think it is, and what we think ourselves is that it is valve stem seals.
We do think it's the valve seals like the valve stems. Not. We think that's where it's coming from.
So we'll probably do what we'll do is we'll do what my dad said. We'll give it a good blast out. Make sure that it's not just needs a good out. I think it doesn't need a good. I think we're pretty convinced it obviously is valve stem seals. There's that.
Well, there's a valve there.
There's
a valve there. We'll maybe change.
There's a what's it called again?
There's the breathers and things like that.
There's the valve. There's a PCV valve on the top in the which is shown, which will probably eliminate that. Make sure it's not just that that's causing the oil to be sucked through that valve and it's not working properly and it's sucking it in the intake. Yeah, we'll fix it. Whatever it is, we'll fix it. We'll show it on camera. Crack on. Right. Next question.
Jean Gangu says, where is the Peugeot 205 GTI?
It's in my dad's garage. Next question. No, seriously. I can't wait to get back to it. Honestly, me mate Tom, he's at us all the time to try and get at this 205, and I want to get at this 205. Absolutely, I can't wait to get back to this 205, and I will. Hopefully, this year I'll have a bit of an update on it. But the thing I'm waiting on is I wanted to put it's a track car, but I want to make something that I can use on the road as well. So the thing I'm kind of at the point is where I need to basically buy the cage, and I wanted to make the cage myself. So I have to obviously buy a tube bender, and they're not cheap. So, and obviously we've got a lot of stuff going on. So hopefully this year though, if I get the cage in it, then I can kind of just get it so it's a roll and shell, and actually get to a point where I can actually maybe use it, so I can put everything back together and make it as like more of a rolling project. That's the plan. But it's like massively, it's in there. It's like I'm desperate to get back to it. So hopefully very soon.
The project has gone on for a good while. We've got to get back to it.
We'll get back to it.
Had that since 2003.
Yeah, I had that car since 2003 and used that car as a daily driver when I was doing me work for home base when I was a supervisor in the garden centre, and that was my daily driver. Yeah, so what's that? 20 years. 20 years this year. There's 20 years this year coming up. I've had that car 20 years.
Because as far as that,
20 years. Dear me.
That time's gone quick.
Wow. Yeah, so hopefully this year.
We will.
Yeah. There we go.
It's got to come back in.
Next question. Oh, all the questions done. Fantastic.
Well, we've had a few good questions there answered.
So the projects, what's coming up, I suppose, in the projects. We've done everything. We've mentioned enough about the Mini. This one, we know what's happening with that one. The MX-5, we know what's happening with that one. The 205, obviously, as I've just mentioned. I definitely want to get the 205 in. going to get on with that. And then there's our Mark II shell, which is just, it's got no, it's just a shell with no, registration.
Floor, nothing in it.
It's got no floor as well, but it's also got no registration. So it's just basically like a car that's, I'm assuming, was just reshelled or scrapped or whatever happened in the past. So it's got no registration with it. So it's something that can never go back on the road. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that. I think I have. So the plan for that car, that Mark II shell, is we want to basically just, at some point, just get all of our friends over, and I'm going to make a time-lapse video of just, I want to basically put that shell on top of something else. That's what we want to do. I think a Ford Ka is apparently, as I've heard, is a good idea. I would have been nice to find something a bit more interesting, like an MX-5, rear-wheel drive and all that sort of thing, you know, put that shell on top of it, and I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so there's that. There's the Mark II shell, which at some point we're going to have a bit of fun with. There's loads of ideas floating around what we can do with that.
Yeah, just going to make it like a track car out of it.
Just a fun,
really.
hill climb track car type thing,
Hill climb with it,
yeah. And I suppose my dad alluded to something before, which I'm not going to tell you very much about. All I'll say is we've got something coming up, which is something we've wanted for a long, long time. And we've got it, we've had it, we've been sitting on it for a couple of months, but it's almost twice the age of the MX-5, and it's a much different car. But what I'll do is we'll play a little clip of getting the car running. So it's been stored, dry stored inside for over 23 years, and so we've managed to get this, whatever it is, this car, and we're getting it running. And here's a clip now of it running. Anyway,
sounds good.
Sounds good, alright.
Sounds good.
Anyway, we're going to pretty much leave you with that one, I think. So, massively thanks for all your comments. Your comments are absolutely amazing. And it's the bit we look forward to when we get the videos, we put the videos out. It's like, well, honestly, we're on there straight away reading all the comments. And it's a bit we look forward to. We love the comments. They're fantastic. Can't believe how good they are. It's
fantastic.
We never ever can get over how fantastic, like, this little community we've kind of built between yourselves and us, all this little, like, there's just so much love. There's so much love for the channel and what we're doing. It's just, when, like, massively overwhelmed and, like, motivated and, like, humbled by these comments. It's just fantastic. I don't know what to say. I can't thank you enough. It's just, they're fantastic. Absolutely great. Don't want to get all mushy and all that sort of thing with it. They're good.
It's
really
good. It is really good.
Really
it's really good. We look forward to reading them every week. Every week we look forward to them.
Really appreciate them.
Yeah, appreciate them well.
Hopefully we've answered some of your questions anyway, and haven't created a whole load more questions. Probably have. But anyway, if you have, stick them in. Don't forget to stick them in. That's great.
Yeah,
we'll answer as many as we can.
There's one thing that does go well for me is we press that thumbs up button.
Yeah, don't forget to press that thumbs up button. And subscribe.
I'd like to see a few of them.
Subscribe if you haven't already. Anyway, that's enough. We're going to finish off with these beers.
Finish off with the beers here. Okay.
That's great for this one. We'll see you on the next one.
See you next. Bye.